Jerry Barber. These are some stories that I've headed under the general heading of chivalry. Chivalry, to define chivalry, chivalry is generosity, consideration, thoughtfulness, tolerance towards others. It is based on love for God, love for that one in the many, and steadfastness of such love in the face of suffering in pursuit of that ideal. It is the heroism of obedience and love, not of pride and willfulness, which is and that heroism is the most heroic and the most moving.
It's okay, yeah.
The true hero needs no witnesses and no reward. He does all so that the light of love and obedience be not impaired. In 1936, Mayor Barber established a free medical centre at Rahuri, a village in a remote rural area, and in the midst of some very wild and inaccessible country. However, word of that free treatment spread quickly, and soon up to 200 people would come each day. Many had never before had treatment from a medical doctor. At times, Mayor Barber himself would help in the clinic, and such was the love and kindness that he gave to minimise the people's suffering. They would seek to have his attention before even the doctors. Such was the case of a poor elderly woman with a badly infected head wound. Her appearance was very distressing, with maggots actually embedded in the open wound. Her misery was acute, and on arrival, all she would cry out was, "Mayor Barber, I want Mayor Barber's darshan. I want to see him before I die. Please call him." An urgent message was conveyed to Barber quite some distance away at Mayorabad, and for her he came specially to the Rahuri clinic. Upon seeing her, he gently took the old woman in his embrace. With this, she became absolutely quiet, and a glow of relief came over her face. She was then gently laid down, and gazing serenely up at Barber, sighed with a sweet smile as she lay there. After half an hour, the woman was noticed to be in a deep sleep with the most peaceful expression. She had entered into the sleep of death. One day in the Caliphate of Omar, while he was sitting with his companions, 3 noble and fine young men entered. 2 of them said, "We too are brothers. While our father was working in his field, he was killed by this young man whom we brought to you for justice. Punish him according to God's book." The Caliph turned to the young man and asked him to speak. Although there are no witnesses, Allah, the ever-present, knows they are telling the truth. I regret very much that their father found death at my hands. I'm a villager. I arrived in Medina this morning to visit the tomb of our Prophet. May Allah commend and salute him. At the outskirts of the city, I got off my horse to take ablution. My horse started eating from the branch of a date palm that was hanging over the wall. As soon as I noticed this, I pulled my horse away from the branch. At that moment, an angry old man approached with a big stone in his hand. He threw the stone at the horse's head, killing it instantly. Since I loved my horse very much, I lost control of myself. I picked up the stone and threw it back at the man. He fell dead. If I had wanted to escape, I could have done so, but to where? If I do not meet my punishment here, I will meet my eternal punishment in the hereafter. I had not intended to kill this man, but he died by my hand. Now the judgment is yours. The Caliph said, "You have committed murder. According to Islamic law, you must receive treatment equal to that which you have dispensed." Although this was a punishment of death, the young man kept his composure and calmly said, "So be it. However, a fortune has been left in my care to be given to an orphan when he comes of age. I buried this fortune for safekeeping. Nobody knows where it is but me. I must dig it up and leave it to somebody else's care. Otherwise, the orphan will be denied his right. Give me 3 days to go to the village and attend to this duty." Omar replied, "Your quest cannot be accorded unless someone takes your place and vouches for your life." "O ruler of the faithful," said the young man, "I could have escaped before if I had wished. My heart is filled with the fear of God. Be certain I will be back." The Caliph refused on the basis of the law. The young man looked at the noble companions of the Prophet who were gathered around the Caliph. Choosing at random, he pointed to Abu Dar and said, "Let this man be the one to vouch for me." Abu Dar was one of the most beloved and respected companions of the Prophet. Without hesitation, he agreed to replace the young man. The accused was released. On the 3rd day, the 2 young accusers came back to the Caliph's court. Abu Dar was there, but not the accused. The accusers said, "O Abu Dar, you vouched for someone you did not know. Even if he does not return, we will not leave without receiving the price of our father's blood." The Caliph said, "Indeed, if the young man does not return, we will have to apply his punishment to Abu Dar." Hearing this, everyone present began to weep for Abu Dar, a man of perfect virtue and splendid of character, who was the light and inspiration for all of in Medina. When the 3rd day had come to an end, the excitement, sorrow, and amazement of the people reached their peak. Suddenly, at this point, the young man appeared. He had been running and was tired, dusty, and hot. "I'm sorry to have worried you," he said breathlessly. "Pardon me for arriving at the last minute. There was much work to be done. The desert was hot and the trip was long. I am now ready. Execute my punishment." Then he turned to the crowd and said, The man of faith is loyal to his word. The one who fails to keep his word is a hypocrite. Who can escape death, which comes sooner or later anyway? Did you think I was going to disappear and make people say the Muslims do not keep their word anymore? The crowd then turned to Abu Dhar and asked whether he had known of the young man's fine character. He answered, "No, not at all, but I did not feel that I could refuse him when he singled me out, as it would not have been in keeping with the laws of generosity. Should I be the one to make people say there is no kindness left in Islam?" The hearts of the accusers trembled, and they dropped their claims, saying, "Should we be the ones to make the people say there is no more compassion in Islam?" Yeah. A little aside, Barbara said, I like this, to keep your best mood in every situation, never to be upset or sad, to speak gently and lovingly, never using a harsh word, not to get excited when somebody steals your chapati, but say from the bottom of your heart, "May Baba bless you." It is easy to win wars, but most difficult to win your own self. To keep a calm head, tolerate and swallow everything. My mother helps me the most. She gives ample opportunities to me and to others to control themselves. For example, I feel like murdering her sometimes, yet I embrace her lovingly. Among the Islamic spiritual literature, it has been recorded that a certain man arranged a marriage with a woman living a distance away. He then heard that the woman had contracted smallpox, which would mean disfigurement. The man began to complain about his eyesight, seeing his eyes had been injured. A little later he declared, "I've gone blind." So the woman entered into the marriage. After 20 years she died, and the man opened his eyes. When he was asked of his change, he said, "I was not blind, but I pretended to be so that she would not be saddened or ashamed." As in another case, the master's charity was so great that when a woman came one day and asked a question and she broke wind, Hatem said to her, "Speak louder, I am hard of hearing." So the woman was not put to shame. And he continued for close on 15 years to say that he was deaf, so that the old woman did not know him to be otherwise. He would always say, "Speak louder."